Your dog did something. You don't know exactly when, but you walk through the door and you already know before you've seen anything, because they're already doing it. The flattened ears, the slow tail, the eyes that won't quite meet yours, the body that seems to be trying to become smaller than it actually is. And you think, they know. They know what they did. Look at that face. That is the face of guilt. But here's the thing. That face is one of the most studied expressions in animal behavior research, and what scientists have found, after years of carefully designed experiments, completely dismantles the story most dog owners tell themselves. Your dog is not feeling guilty, and the reason why changes everything about how you understand what's happening between you. Let's start with the experiment that started it all. In 2009, Alexandra Horowitz at Barnard College designed a study so elegant in its simplicity that it's been replicated and built upon ever since. She brought dog owners and their dogs into a room. She told the owners whether or not their dog had eaten a forbidden treat while they were gone. Then she had the owners greet their dogs, and she filmed everything. Here's the twist. She lied to half of the owners. Some owners were told their dog had eaten the treat when it hadn't. Some were told their dog hadn't eaten the treat when it had. If the guilty look was actually guilt, if it was the dog's internal emotional response to having done something wrong, then the look should appear when the dog had actually misbehaved, regardless of what the owner believed. That's not what happened. The guilty look appeared most strongly when the owner believed the dog had misbehaved, regardless of whether the dog had actually done anything wrong. Dogs who had eaten the treat, but whose owners were told they hadn't, almost no guilty look.
Dogs who hadn't touched the treat, but whose owners were told they had, full guilty look, flattened ears, slow tail, averted eyes, the whole performance. The dog wasn't responding to its own actions. It was responding to you. Specifically to something in your face, your posture, your energy, the subtle but unmistakable signal that you are displeased, that you walked in with an expectation and something has violated it. Researchers call what dogs are actually displaying in these moments appeasement behavior, and it is one of the oldest, most deeply wired social mechanisms in canine psychology. When a dog senses tension, threat, or disapproval from a dominant social partner, which is what you are to your dog whether you think of yourself that way or not, their nervous system activates a specific behavioral sequence. Make yourself smaller, break eye contact, move slowly, signal non-threat, de-escalate. This is not a response to guilt. This is a response to danger. Not danger in the sense of physical threat, but social danger. The danger of a disrupted bond, of disapproval from the one person whose approval structures their entire world. Now here's where it gets more complicated and more interesting, because the fact that dogs don't experience guilt the way humans do doesn't mean they experience nothing. What dogs do have is an extraordinarily sophisticated system for reading social consequences. They learn with remarkable speed which behaviors produce which outcomes, and they are exquisitely sensitive to the emotional state of the people around them. A 2012 study by Julian Kaminsky at the University of Portsmouth found that dogs were significantly more likely to steal forbidden food when their owner couldn't see them, not just when the owner had left the room, but even when the owner was present but had their eyes closed or had turned away.
Think about what that means. The dog isn't just responding to whether you're physically present. It's tracking whether you can see. It understands the difference between a person who is watching and a person who is not. That is not simple conditioning. That is a form of perspective taking, an awareness that other minds have different information than your own. And it means the dog who steals the treat the moment you turn your back isn't acting impulsively and then feeling bad. They're calculating, waiting for the window, taking it when the social risk is lowest. They're not guilty when you come home. They're reading your face and managing the social consequence of having taken a calculated risk. But here's what makes this complicated emotionally and why it matters. Your dog's appeasement response is real. The flattened ears, the averted gaze, the slow tail, these are genuine physiological responses driven by a genuinely activated stress system. They are not performed or fake. Your dog is not pretending. They are experiencing something. It just isn't guilt. It is social anxiety, the stress of anticipated disapproval from the most important being in their world. And when owners respond to the guilty look with anger or prolonged punishment, especially delayed punishment after the fact, something specific happens in the dog's nervous system. They don't connect your anger to the chewed shoe from 4 hours ago. The window for behavioral consequence is measured in seconds, not hours. What they connect your anger to is this moment, your arrival, your face, your energy right now.
And gradually, systematically, your arrival becomes something to be afraid of. The guilty look you see isn't a dog confessing. It's a dog who has learned that when you walk through the door with that energy, something uncomfortable is about to happen, and they are already trying to prevent it. So what does this mean practically? It means that expressing frustration over something that happened hours ago doesn't teach your dog not to do it. It teaches your dog that your homecoming is unpredictable and sometimes frightening, which produces more anxiety, which produces more of the behaviors that are destroying your living room. The research on this is consistent and clear. The dogs who struggle most with destructive behavior at home are not dogs who lack conscience. They are dogs whose stress systems are chronically activated, and stress, in dogs, often expresses itself through the mouth, through the paws, through movement. A dog chewing your couch while you're gone is not a defiant act. It is almost certainly a self-soothing behavior from an animal in distress. Here's the part that most people find either deeply comforting or slightly unsettling, depending on how you look at it. Your dog has no moral framework. They don't categorize actions as right or wrong in the abstract. They don't replay the afternoon and feel bad about what they did. What they have instead is something in some ways more profound, a nervous system so deeply calibrated to your emotional state that your disapproval registers as something close to physical pain. Your bond with them is the organizing principle of their entire social world, and the anxiety they feel when that bond is threatened, when your face goes cold, when your voice goes flat, when your body stiffens, is real, immediate, and powerful. They don't feel guilty about the shoe, but they feel the disruption between you with everything they have. That's not less than guilt. That might actually be more. If this changed how you see that look on your dog's face, subscribe to this channel and leave a comment below. Do you still see it as guilt now, or does it look like something different? Because once you see it for what it actually is, you can't unsee it. And the next video goes even deeper into what your dog is reading in your face every single moment you're together, and the neuroscience behind it is stranger than you'd expect.